What's up guys, this is Dave with Dave and Mitch, and in today's video I'm going to be going over the Contax G1 in 2025. This remarkable camera has been in my arsenal for a little under a year now, and it has quickly become my favorite film camera. The G1 is a rangefinder style camera that I purchased off of eBay with both the 28mm and the 90mm f2 Carl Zeiss native lenses, as well as the original flash. This camera has now traveled all over the US and it never let me down. In fact, I have yet to change the original batteries I put in it when I first got it. The autofocus is incredible, as it is an autofocus camera. More on that in a minute. The lenses are the sharpest glass I've ever owned, and the TTL flash is beyond accurate with exposures. It's kind of crazy that these cameras were first introduced in 1995, with the production ending in 2005. So my camera at its youngest would be 20 years old, or at its oldest it would be 31 years old. For a purely electronic camera, that is quite insane. I am really surprised that it works as well as it does. Though these film cameras were luxury cameras for their time, and there was nothing else like it. You basically had Leica sharp glass on an autofocused body with a shutter speed up to 2,000th of a second. This camera has an autofocus system that uses center weighted passive phase detection. The autofocus system is fast and accurate in a good light, but can struggle in low light or with low contrast subjects. The longer lens tends to misfocus more in my experience as well, but the G1 is slow as a whole. It is definitely nothing like today's digital standard, but for me as a landscape contemporary photographer, it is more than enough. If you're primarily a street photographer, I would maybe suggest the G2, as the autofocus is about twice as fast probably, but it is also twice the price. The camera isn't water resistant, though I've never had too much trouble in a little bit of rain or fog. I have had experiences where I was in the wilderness and I had some light rain and that was okay, but whenever it gets to like crazy rain or pouring down, I would probably put it away. These cameras are purely electronic, which is a little bit of a downside because they could just die at any moment. However, the cons that kind of outweigh that subject would be more so like the faster electronic shutter speed and TTL flash capabilities. I'm a 28mm or die kind of guy, and I love this 28mm lens. It is so sharp and perfect for my uses. It's compact, light, and pretty unassuming for the quality it produces. The 90mm on the other hand is quite gnarly looking. It's an alright lens. It's not my favorite focal length, so therefore I kind of already have a little bit of bias on it. The autofocus seems to run a little bit slower, which makes a little bit more sense because it does have more elements than the 28. Though if you love the 90mm and you're okay with slower autofocus, it is extremely sharp. I would dare say sharper than that 28mm, and I do not own the 45mm f2, though I've heard that's sharper than the 90mm, which is almost hard to believe because this thing is extremely crisp. This camera also has the option to use sort of a manual focus, but it is a bit of a pain and easy to move if you bump it. It also has a exposure compensation, bulb mode, and a mechanical aperture dial. I use the exposure compensation a lot, and I usually have it set to 2/3 to a stop under, but I like contrast and a little more of a moody look. If you want a light pastel look, I think right at the 0 EV is perfect for that occasion. You can also change the drive mode from a single shot to continuous, and a built-in double exposure option, and of course a timer function. While I've never dabbled in the double exposure mode, it is unique in its own regard. You even have the option to change the ISO reading if you would like to push or pull your film. Within the viewfinder, you get a reading of your focus from infinity to 5 meters, 2 meters, 1 meters, and 0.5 meters. This is good because if you're not sure if your autofocus grabbed the distance you desire, you can double check that with the gauge. It also displays your shutter speed and whether you are underexposed, overexposed, or dead even with its built-in light meter. The body takes 2 CR2 batteries and the flash takes a 123A battery, both of which are still available so you don't have trouble finding them. You can also find these cameras on
eBay or KEH or something of that sort. The bodies usually cost between $350 and $400. There are two different Contax G1s. There's the green label and the gray label. The green label is a modified version that allows you to use the 16mm, 21mm, and 35mm focal lengths that are created in later manufacturing. The lenses definitely tend to be a little bit more on the expensive end, depending on which lens you get. Like I said, the 45mm is very sought after and probably one of the better lenses in this collection, but sometimes you can find combos for a good price.
That kind of wraps it up on the specs, but I do want to talk about how much I love this camera. For the few drawbacks that it has, they've all been cast aside for me. It makes me want to shoot. I want to grab it off my shelf and go out and take some photos, which is really all you can ask for with a camera, whether it comes down to aesthetics or simply just how it feels in your hand, or size, or quality. Really, if you enjoy shooting the camera, it is the best camera. You know, if you want to go out and take photos with it and there's no hindrances, or you feel like you can just go out and create and there's no creative blockage, then it's a good camera. If you are interested in the Contax, I can say it is truly a work of art. The images it's able to produce, along with the ease of use, are just unmatched by any other film camera. I hadn't mentioned this before, but I used to use only mechanical cameras because I felt like it gave me more of a purist experience, especially with film. But man, this thing got me over that really, really quickly. I've gotten great work from it, and it has yet to let me down in any way. But yeah, I can't recommend this thing enough. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. If you have any more questions, please leave some down in the comments below. I'm happy to answer. Thank you guys again for watching. Have a great day.